When you're ready.
Wicked. Here we are. Living life in the flow zone. Welcome. And we're here with the Profitability Mentor to coaches and consultants, international speaker, also a lecturer.
Yeah.
Yep. Sales queen.
Yes.
Nurse. Nat Binette. How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm really good. Thanks.
Wonderful. Well, it's a pleasure to be invited on your podcast.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of good about yourself because I've been collaborating with my business partner for a while. So I was really, really keen on meeting you. So here we are.
It's a lovely place to meet, isn't it?
Yep.
Cool. So why don't you, tell the people who is Nat Binette?
Oh, wow. That's a very broad question. I could be talking for hours. All right. Well, I guess I'm an entrepreneur. That is one way to describe me. I'm a woman with experience in sales, mainly service sales. So I have $21 million worth of service sales behind me. I have taught sales and managed sales teams. So again, in the service space. So I'm really, really good at selling air. But I wouldn't call myself an expert at selling objects or products. Yeah, so I sell services. Yeah, and I teach people like yourself or other consultants and coaches how to find their market, build their audience, and then offer a service that's going to deliver great outcomes for their clients.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And how long you been at that for?
I think my very first sales environment was at 17, so
Wow.
I'm 45. It's a long time.
Beautiful. So just maybe let's rewind a little bit. So tell us a bit about that journey and that story, where you're currently at now and how you came to be here.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, okay. I'll go in periods of 5 years because I think my life is in a period of 5 years. So I did a bachelor's degree in nursing because that's what my parents wanted me to do. So I ticked the box, but since I was a baby, well, as far as I can remember, I always played a business person. Like my friends or my parents' friends would come over and I'd get my little Fisher Price cash register and I'd sell them something, right? And I'd get paid in tokens or whatever. So that's as far as I can remember it.
Amazing.
So I always wanted to be in business, but I come from a very modest family, and no one in our family was in business or successfully in business. My dad tried a few times, but it just wasn't for him. So I wanted to be in business, but I had no one around me in friends or family that knew how or had been successful. So I went through uni, did my bachelor's degree in nursing, and then one day by complete chance I met someone who was responsible for business development for a financial planning company. And he invited me to attend one of their recruitment evenings, and I did, and I fell in love with what they did. I fell in love with their educational concept because coming from a modest family where money wasn't flowing, it was tough. Learning how to be better at managing money or making money was really interesting for me, and helping families who were similar to mine and my parents' family, which was very modest, helping these people really, really spoke to me. And so, yeah, it was a quick decision. I attended an information evening on a Thursday night, and on the Monday morning I was in their office signing up. I wanted to be trained. And anyway, so 5 years I spent in that business. I built my own financial planning practice from scratch, up to 32 advisors, and did very well. And then moved on and did another 5 years as a sales consultant. So I was teaching people in various roles, but always in the service space, how to sell their service. So I was hired by the government of Canada there's a beautiful program that they have for people who are in startups. So I was a consultant to help people in startup situations, how to identify their market, package their message so that it would hit the spot, and then work out what their sales process should be. Then I fell in love with an Australian.
In Canada?
I met him in Australia, went back to Canada to work, and then he chased me for a while and I moved across the pond. And so the following 5 years were the only time in my life where I actually worked a corporate job. So I worked in banks, in financial planning, and I managed teams and all that in the financial services sector. And that had to end because it was really against my grain. It was, I'm not an employee, I'm not a corporate person, I'm a business person, and I'm an entrepreneur. So yeah.
Just didn't feel right. It was like you're stuck in this this box that just was like you're a star trying to fit in this hexagonal kind of hole. This is not fitting for you.
It nearly killed me. Like
well,
it was seriously
like you had physical ailments and things, and
mentally, yeah. It was really
wow.
Yeah, it was not healthy.
It's crazy how our bodies tell us that these kind of things, our bodies and minds are just like sending us these messages, and a lot of people don't listen to them. So it's really I'm glad that you it was a 5-year block. And
yeah. And so, but all that journey brought me to making some choices in the last few years, and I'd wanted to have an online business, and I didn't know how to be successful online because my field of expertise was not online. So I got myself an education on how to do things online, how to attract the right type of clients, how to pitch myself to strangers.
How did you do that? What did that consist of, that education?
Yeah, I bought some courses that some of my competitors now are actually selling. So I started by, funny enough, buying a course to become a life coach with a coaching school in Melbourne. Because the founder of that school had a very interesting track record and was very, very successful. And I knew that they were marketing online, and that's how they got me in. So I was really interested in understanding every step of their funnel, every step of their marketing process, because I had no idea at all. Seriously, none. Because, backtrack a bit, when I was in my financial planning business in the 90s, I would ring up people that had been referred to me, and then I'd rock up at their kitchen table, do my work. If they were happy, I'd get some more referrals, and then that's how I kept my wheel turning, right? And that was brilliant.
In phone, yeah.
Yeah, so always in warm market, phone person. And then as a consultant, it was word of mouth. It was my reputation. I was doing a great job, had a good impact, and then they would put me on to somebody else. So again, referrals. So I actually never had to market myself. I sold my services, but I actually never had to market myself to strangers. So that was a brand new skill that I picked up by watching others or asking questions and taking part in learning experiences, and then launching myself and trying things, like going on in a Facebook group and following a conversation, seeing what people are talking about. And if I had any value I could add to help them, then I would. And that often led to a conversation that continued offline. And that's how I picked up my first online clients. Yeah. So And we teach that now. We teach exactly that process, and it's a free marketing strategy that we teach. And people are making thousands, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week using that. So they spend no money. Like I used to spend no money on marketing and still get my clients. And the service I was selling was 12 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's
amazing.
Interesting learning curve. Yeah.
Thanks for thanks for giving us that next layer of depth on what that looked like. Yeah, it's very so enlightening to know like what it looks like. It's like, I educated myself, but what does that look like? So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, exactly. And then to finish the circle, a little bit over a year ago, what I was doing is I was helping experts package their intellectual property into online products. And a lot of my clients had beautiful products, but they didn't have an audience or an email list. And I knew of Mark Bonus, and I knew that his specialty was teaching people how to build a movement, a tribe, an audience. And I got in touch with him and I said to him, I reckon if you and I work together, it would actually make a lot of sense for the clients, because you will teach them how to get people's attention, and I'll teach them how to package what they know in products that are high value. Mm-hmm. And so it's a great proposal to serve a client and give them the two components that they need. And that's how our business was born.
Cool. So that was just from you joining a Facebook group and starting a conversation.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or joining a conversation, was it?
Yeah. I did that. And then he put an offer out for $1,000 a day event with him. And I paid my $1,000 and I attended. I shook his hand. I wanted to meet the man. And then we had a conversation where I said to him, look, I reckon we should be partners. Let's catch up and let's talk about it. So there you go.
Beautiful. So all that practice of doing your work in person definitely paid off.
Yeah.
So this is Guru House you're talking about. This is how Guru House was born. Is this?
That's how Guru House was born. And since the 1st of June this year, we've decided to drop the name Guru House and use our name. So it's now Binette and Bonus.
Beautiful. That will be double trouble. So speaking of, you've been a mentor for many people, it sounds like, and for consultants and coaches. How about your own mentors? Are there any mentors that stand out for you along your journey? And if so, who are they? And I also would like to know what your top 3 takeaways from any, if you do have any mentors, what they would be, and who they came from.
I got 4 mentors. Well, actually, there's 5. But I'll give you the business ones. So in my financial planning business, my very first business when I was in my 20s, I was very, very lucky that the person who taught me everything I needed to know about the business was a wonderful woman with great human values, very respectful. Her values, my values were aligned, and they're pretty much they would win good behavior medals, So it was great, because when I said to my mother I was going to start a business, her take on the business world was that everybody in business were crooks and you had to be dishonest if you wanted to be successful in business. And I didn't believe that, and I decided that was not going to be me. I was going to be straight up, authentic, genuine the whole way through, because my first business, I was in a small country town in Canada. And so wherever I went, my clients were there.
Yeah, there's no getting away from them.
So the very first thing I learned from André Lachapelle, which was my very first mentor, was that you have to listen to your gut, listen to your instinct. If something tells you something's wrong, it is. And if you feel comfortable with something, then you go ahead with it. So that was the first mentor, first lesson. Then second mentor was a gentleman by the name of George Lukanyuk, and that was in Tasmania. So
hey George Lukanyuk.
Lukanyuk, yeah. Yeah, what a
Great
name.
name.
He's a lovely man. Yeah. So yeah, so well, he was my boss at Westpac. So he's the guy who gave me my first job in Australia, my first corporate role, and he was a good man. What he showed me was that you can still be a good person in the corporate world. And I say that, and because I dealt with so many other bullies or corporate sociopaths, having this man stand out is quite a feat, because yeah. Anyway, so he showed me that, yeah, you can be a good person, you can care for your team and your employees in the corporate world as well, and that was really good.
Cool.
Then third mentor was the CEO of a superannuation fund, and she taught me she sat me down and she said, listen, you need this set of skills if you want to progress in your career. So because she had been there, she could identify the gaps in my skills, and that was priceless because I couldn't see it, and she saw it really quickly. So her experience is what I took away from the conversations. It's like when someone has experience because they've been there and they have the results you want, then they deserve to be your mentor. Like you can peacefully say, I will follow in their tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely.
Too many people out there try to improvise themselves as mentors, and they don't have the success that they promote that you may have if you hire them. And to me, that's just not congruent.
Well, that's the difference between, often people will mistake teachers for mentors, for coaches. They're totally different things. It's like they try to put it in the same bracket. For mentors, it is that someone who's walked the path before you and is further along the path and can actually tell you what to expect, or in the trajectory that you want to go. Coach is someone, if you look at Usain Bolt's coach, he's not going to be further along the road than Usain Bolt, is he? He's going to be someone who's able to get the most out of you, and
yeah.
And a teacher is someone who has the requisite knowledge that you don't have, so it's definitely something to keep in mind. So thanks for sharing that. And there was a question that I had. If you were to boil, because I know you've been a speaker, international speaker, and you're a writer as well. You're writing a book. Is that something that's happening?
We're in the process of writing a book. So far, my writing experience has been articles on LinkedIn, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
They're about to be, but talks you've something you have experience with. So when you give your talks, I'm sure you've talked on a wide variety and array of topics. But if you were to sort of boil the essence down of what you love to talk about and what you're most inspired to share from what you've learned, how would you boil that down?
All right. Well, it's the same principle that I apply in everything in my business. It's congruence, right? So I haven't spoken on that many topics because I am not an expert on many topics.
Yeah.
I know what I know, and that's what I talk about. And I don't talk about the other stuff that I am not an expert at, because some other people will do a much better job at that. Yeah. So my whole personal brand is around the fact that I am really, really good at service sales. And I found that out when I was in my financial planning business, because there was 140,000 representatives within that company. Yeah. And we're all self-employed, but we still had to be licensed through that main company. And I was in the top 1%. Yeah. So my numbers proved to me that I was really good. And then when I was coaching others, the way that I could transfer my skills and see them have results also proved that I really was a master at that skill. which is also why when I stood in front of chambers of commerce or real estate institutes or any type of environment, like there was an entrepreneur convention where I had an audience of 3,000 people. That was my biggest audience. It was so energizing, you know, because the people in the room that day were people that their success depended on their ability to sell.
So they're listening, they're soaking up, they're sponges. Exactly. Attentive.
Yeah, exactly. And so by breaking down a process and giving them actionable items that they can straight away implement, that's what I'm about. So when I get on stage, if I'm not there to sell my products and my services, and I'm just there for a keynote or to deliver value, then what I do is I make sure that the people in the audience get something that they can take action on straight away. And I really stick to what I know. I do not talk about stuff that I'm not an expert at. That would be the silliest mistake you could do. I reckon as a speaker, you got to be able to back yourself. And I'm also extremely interactive. I don't talk, act. I interact with my audience, and I walk all around the room, and I touch people, and I connect with them. So when you do that, when you open the floor to people, you've got to be really solid in your topic.
Yeah. Talk about what you know about, like you said, yeah. And in terms of you've been in the financial planning business, and talking about planning, are you much of a planner? Do you have a kind of you set goals and have a vision, and if so, what does that process look like for you, and maybe what are some of those goals and visions look like?
All right. Big question. So yes, I'm a planner. Yes, especially in the business partnership that I have at the moment, I'm the detail person, whereas the business partner is more of a big picture guy. So it's a really good combination because, he's big picture, I'm details, as in making things happen. The challenge in the partnership is that it's frustrating for him that I get bogged down in details, and it's frustrating for me that he's only big picture. So, but we know that. And, we're both trained life coaches with some emotional intelligence, so we can work it out, but it's still a challenge. So I plan, how we plan in our business is we have a look at what we want to accomplish as our big mission in the world. So we want to impact 1 billion people. How do we impact 1 billion people? We find 50,000 coaches that build 20,000 people in their movements. That's 1 billion, right? So we're very clear on our numbers, which gives us the long-term vision, right? So what that means is that everything else, like every other little project or brain fart that we have, if it doesn't fit in that vision, then it's quickly put aside. Yeah. And then we break it down into what needs to happen this year. So when we sat down together and decided to partner up, we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we hit $1 million in revenue for our first year? And we could only dream about that. So 2 weeks ago, it was a year that we'd been in business together, and we ended up going to Sydney together to meet with Hay House, the publisher.
Yeah.
And we sat down and we were brainstorming before the meeting, and I said, I reckon we're close to our objective for the year. And I went into our accounting software and pulled the figures out. And we had just tipped over. So we had 1,022,000 for a year. Right?
Amazing.
So we visualized it and we worked towards it, as in we broke down that in order to get to the $1 million in the first 12 months, there was a progression that we needed this much in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And all our efforts were directed to meet those goals. So it also means that there is no room for shiny objects like a website. No, we still don't have a website. Right? We have a landing page that's redirected with our binetteandbonus.com address, but it still sits on ClickFunnels, right? So it's a landing page. Yeah, so we didn't get bogged down in the silly stuff that a lot of entrepreneurs get bogged down with. We don't have business cards. We slapped some up together quick because we were going to a media event. So within 4 hours, I did the graphic design, send that to a company, and they were in my hand because they had an express service. But we had like 50 each. And seriously, they were slapped up together because we spent no time at all on the things that don't matter when you launch. Yeah. What matters is your relationship. What matters is the service. So yeah, so we do plan, and especially now that we're putting on employees, the role of financial controller becomes more important because then we've got other people's livelihood in our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so every time we put someone on, or we decide we're going to spend this much on marketing, advertising, or whatever, then it's all part of the projections and the plan. And yeah, so we're very organized.
Very, very good. And congratulations, by the way, on reaching your objectives. It's great to hear. It's inspirational. And you care to share where the vision is, where it's heading, or is that something you like to keep private? Or
no, happy to share.
Yeah.
I think the most important part of the vision that drives Mark and I is the billion people, the billion lives impacted. And I was collecting a testimonial from a lady named Anita Van Rooyen recently. And she reminded me of why we do this, because it's funny. And it's probably just me, but I was thinking 50,000 coaches, they have their 20,000 people in their movement. I can't go direct to those 20,000, but I can go direct to my coaches. So I'm focusing on the coaches. And then she tells me, because of the work that we do and how we've empowered her and we've given her the techniques and the tools that she needed, she said, I have been serving, and she gives me an example, this woman, mother of 2 children, wife and all that, sister, daughter. Yes, so she puts me the person in context, and therefore the work that she does impacts this individual and 6 or 8 people around her as well. Yeah, because as a coach, she's a confidence coach. So the work that she does with this woman is going to impact the relationship with her children, their self-esteem, the relationship with her husband, with the family, with the work context, everything. And so that's when the billion lives starts taking shape. And it starts being real, because we've got coaches coming back to us and saying, yeah, me coaching 1 person, I've really impacted 8. Yeah, so that's the big vision. That's the reason why we do it. The numbers or the financial objectives, they're there to guide the pace at which we scale. Yeah, in order to eventually make it to our big goal, which is the billion lives. Beautiful.
And as you like, the title of this podcast is Living Life in the Flow Zone. So, for me, I'm all for learning new ways to get into flow, to get into peak state, ensure that I personally am constantly enhancing the human experience for myself, but also all those I work with and come into contact with.
Yep.
So what is your concept of living life in the flow zone for you, or what's your idea of being in that kind of peak state or flow state, and how do you go about ensuring that? Is that something that's important to you, or you, like you said, you just get on with it and do the important stuff?
Well, twice in my life already, I've had to slow down because I was going too fast. Yeah, and my body just crashed. So it's not in my nature to be balanced. I think to live in the flow. It is not in my nature. My nature is million miles an hour.
Go, 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 go.
Then allow a crash. So I'm 45 now. You know, there's only so many times you can do that before you can't come back again. Yeah. So my partner and I, our objective, now that we're getting a bit older and we're hopefully a bit wiser, our objective is to have more balance in our life, which means that we're both really hardworking people. We're both very driven. He's got his own business, I've got my business, but we're more and more making space for our bodies, our souls. Like for him, it looks like 3 mornings a week he goes to the gym, and then 2 other mornings he walks the dogs. For me, 3 mornings of the week, 3 to 5 mornings, I walk the dogs. I do some exercise. Sometimes during the day, I turn everything off and I go either for a walk or I sit down and I meditate, because I did some transcendental meditation training years ago. So I try to make room for that, so I keep energized. So we eat well. We exercise. We play, like we give ourselves some playtime. We travel. We try and travel once every quarter. So we make room for living, because I'm gonna tell you, every year it feels like it's going faster.
Yeah.
The older I get, it just feels like it's going faster and faster and faster. And, you know, Christmas comes and it's like Christmas was yesterday and it's here again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so slowing down is the ultimate objective. But until that happens, it's working on some sort of balance.
Beautiful. So thank you so much for your time. I know you're an extremely busy person, as you've mentioned, so I thoroughly appreciate you taking the time out to speak to us. I wish you all the best for your mission, manifesting your vision, gaining that balance, and everything. Congratulations on your wins and all the best to you. The 2 things actually before we go. So the first one is the Hay House meeting. What's happening with that? What happened with that? Congratulations for that. What can you tell us about that, if anything?
Yeah, of course. We're at a point in our conversation with Hay House where they have told us that they want to publish us. So what we need to do is complete the writing of the book. So Mark is much more of a natural at writing content because he's done it more than I have. I'm more of a practical business person. So what I'm doing is I'm using the structure that I teach people to put their intellectual property together in online courses. I'm using that as the basis to write my part of the book. So once we've got that done, we'll go to the process. We've got a team of 2 ladies who will review the book and make the edits, because we're not professional writers, we're business people. So we've got a team around us that have been referred by Hay House. And Leon, the CEO of Hay House Australia, was really excited to have us on board and very welcoming, and it was brilliant. So that's super exciting. Yeah, so it's happening. It will take time.
Like all good things.
Yeah. Well, because we run a business. That's our priority. The book is a nice to have. It's something that we want to put out there for our clients and for the audience. But we are also busy running a business, serving people in the meantime. So
definitely
balancing that. Yeah.
Awesome. Definitely sounds very exciting. So, on a final note, this is something that I ask all my guests: is if there's one thing that you'd like to leave the tribe with, it can be whether it's a question, a thought, an idea, a principle, whatever it might be, parable, whatever, a story. What would you like to leave the tribe with today?
I think I've got 3 things that really I keep telling our clients. The first one is, if you don't believe in yourself, find a mentor that does until you do. Yeah.
Awesome. Can you repeat that one for us?
Yeah, yeah. So if you don't have the belief in yourself that you can do something, yeah, if you're not there yet for yourself, find a mentor that believes in you until you start believing in yourself. Yeah.
Excellent.
Because we do that for our clients. You know, when same thing as you do, we select our clients carefully, and when we see something in someone that they haven't seen yet,
yeah,
then it's our job to believe in them until they believe in themselves.
Beautiful.
Okay. So we'll leave it with that.
Awesome. So thank you so much again, and maybe we can do it again sometime.
I'm happy to come back. Just send me an invite. I'll rock up. This is fun.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nat.
You're welcome.
All the best with everything.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. You know what to do. Rock on.